Hey, this is Alchemist Camp, where we learn Elixir by building things. And this video is just a quick update to correct some pain I may have caused you in the last video, number 5 of building of alchemist.camp. I had two routes that match the same thing, as in everything. This route has the underscore atom, which matches everything. This route has a wildcard, which matches everything under the base path, which is everything. And the reason this didn't cause me any problems is the main route would match first, and then nothing would get dished off to the static route. The only static asset, other than the index.html, which is handled up here, was this logo.jpg. So that couldn't load except on my browser where it was cached. So sorry about the confusion. Just to clarify, if one route matches something, then it's not possible to match by the others. Even if it's the static one first, Cowboy Static has no way of saying, oh, there's no file named that here, just dish it off to the next route in the handler. It doesn't do that. When one matches in the dispatch, no other one can. So we're going to fix this by just adding a subdirectory. Images and static images. And we could just add more declarations for static / CSS, static / JS, whatever we need for our assets. And in order to make it easier to do that, just to add more lines as necessary, I'm going to change the syntax here a little bit and just say routes equals this list, and do it like so. And I've got to add commas to them there and there. And then in the dispatch, instead of all this, we can just say routes. Okay, that's the only real bug. The other thing is it'd be nice to show some nicer error messages when someone uses a template wrong, and I'll go over that right now. So we had a hello template that expects a variable called adjective that comes from the router. In content for hello, you can see we assign ADJ with a value. If we didn't assign it with a value, or say there was someone mistyped ADJ and they made it ADK, and if they saved it with this mistype, then they would get a really ugly error message. In fact, they'd have no message on the page, and they would have to look at the server logs in order to see that there was an Erlang error. And it's called a compile error, which Elixir does understand. I'll show you that really quickly. Inspect compile error. So you can see it looks like a map. It's actually a struct, which is basically a map without any protocols on it. So you can't use enum on it, which is kind of a pain. There is a way to convert a struct into a map though. Map.from struct compile error. Then you can see it's a map and it has collectible, it has enumerable, so you can do things like enum on it. That will be very useful. So we are going to go to the router and add a try do rescue block to this line, which is the dangerous one, because eex.eval file just crashes with an error if it doesn't work. There's no return tuple like with so many other functions. So try do, we'll put both these lines in it. So if everything's fine, we just put the response as we would. If it's not, then we need to rescue the compile error, in compile error, and handle it somehow. And in order to handle this error, it's good if we know what the structure of the error is. So we will go to our browser, look at the Elixir docs, exceptions, compile error, we can just go straight to the code, and there we are. So it's got file line description. So we could, after matching compile error, we could just type e.file or e.line or e.description. Probably be pretty safe. The module might be updated in the future though, so instead we're just going to trust that it is a struct with key value pairs. So let's say the details and reduce it into a string. So first is enum.reduce, and we need to get a map because it's a struct right now. So map.from struct of our error. Then we'll start with an empty string, and our function will take key value pair, because that's what happens when you reduce over a map, and then the accumulator. The accumulator starts off just this empty string, and we'll add to it every trip through the function. So each time we have an accumulator, and then we will append. This is going to be HTML because we're going to output it to a page. So strong with key, strong, and actually this has to be interpolated. So we'll do that. So the key and then the value. And we'll separate them by lines. Put resp body, con, and details. Reload it, and we had an error. Function's missing an end. And that looks much better, although it's still not super user-friendly. So instead of just the details, we'll also put a header up there. So h1 template compile error h1, and then the details. Okay. Okay, that's a pretty reasonable error. Exception true, description undefined function adk/0, and the file and the line, so we can go right to the file and the line and fix it. Okay, excellent. That's it for this video. Just a quick update. Code on.